Dr. Fidelina Yolaran. Good afternoon, classmates. I am Maria Anessa Raya, second year BS Ed English. And right at this very moment, we're going to be discussing the Batas Pambansa bilang 232. And without further ado, let's go on with our discussion for today. Batas Pambansa bilang 232 is an act providing for the establishment and maintenance of an integrated system of education. It is also known as the Education Act of 1982, which provides the latest and more specific provisions on rights, duties, and parents' relation to education. This law amplified the promotion of discipline in the educational communities. It was approved by our late President Ferdinand E. Marcos on September 10, 1982, and was promulgated on September 11, 1982. Now, let's go to General Provisions, Chapter 1, Preliminary Matters. Under Section 1, the Act shall known as the Education Act of 1982. In accordance with Section 2, this Act shall apply and govern both formal and non-formal system in public and private schools in all levels of the entire educational system. Therefore, it is very clear that both formal and non-formal system of education, both private and public schools in the entire system of education are covered by this said law. Now, let's move on to Chapter 2, Declaration of Basic State Policy and Objectives. Under Section 3, it is the policy of the state to establish and maintain a complete, adequate, and integrated system of education relevant to the goals of the national development. With regards to that, the government should ensure within the context of a free and democratic system maximum contribution of the educational system to the attainment of the following national developmental goals. So what are those goals? We have 3. Number 1, to achieve and maintain an accelerating rate of economic development and social progress. Apart from the rising global variability, in recent years, the Philippines has been among the fastest growing economies in the world, with an average annual growth of 6.3 between 2010 and 2016. The Philippines economy remains strong and is projected to grow 5.8% in 2019. Number 2, to ensure the maximum participation of the people in the attainment and enjoyment of the benefits of such growth. And number 3, to achieve and strengthen national unity and consciousness and preserve, develop, and promote desirable cultural and moral spiritual values in a changing world. The state shall promote the right of every individual to relevant quality education regardless of sex, age, creed, if they are Christian or involved in any other types of religion, socioeconomic status, if they belong to a high, middle, or low-class family, physical and mental conditions, which includes the PWD or the persons with disabilities, racial or ethnic origins, political or other affiliation, or being involved or being a member of a community organization. The government should not pick into whom they will give a relevant quality education because it must be given to everyone wherever they came from. It is also important that the state shall also promote and maintain quality of access to education as well as the enjoyment of the benefits of education by its citizen. Along with that, the state shall promote the right of the nation's cultural communities in the exercise of their rights to develop themselves within the context of their cultures, traditions, customs, interests, and beliefs, and recognize education as an instrument of their maximum participation in the national development and in ensuring their involvement in achieving national unity. Now let's go to Section 4, Declaration of Objectives. The educational system aims to, number 1, provide a broad general education that will assist each individual in a peculiar ecology of his own society to A. Attain his potentials as a human being. B. Enhance the range of quality of individual and group participation in the basic function of society. And C. acquire the essential educational foundation of his development into a productive and versatile citizen. Therefore, it is clearly stated in number 1 that every system of education must provide a comprehensive and wide-ranging universal education that may help every individual gain understanding about the ecology or the study of how organisms interact with one another and with their physical environment, in which it can achieve his prospects as a person and as well as build up his group participation and being able to recognize his purpose in the society. And lastly, to attain the importance of education for his own development to become a more useful and multi-talented individual. Number 2, train the nation's manpower in the middle-level skills for national development. It is furthermore the desire of the educational system to give importance to the nation's manpower in the middle-level skills. For this reason, the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, which is a government agency tasked to manage and supervise technical education and skills development in the Philippines. The trifocal education system mandates STEP-Ed in basic education, which covers elementary, secondary, and non-formal education, while CHED being responsible for higher education, and TESTA manage post-secondary, middle-level manpower training and development. Number 3, develop the profession that will provide leadership for the nation in the advancement of knowledge for improving the quality of human life. Other than improving the skills, it is also the goal of the educational system to build on professionalism, as it will enable you to become a more effective leader of the state, who has embodied the ability to share clear messages and make complex ideas easy to understand for everyone. Active listening, empathy, strategic thinking skills, creativity, and the ability to inspire and convince others, flexibility, and much more. Number 4, respond effectively to changing needs and conditions of the nations through the system of educational planning and evaluation. In conclusion, the system of education also aims to provide functional response to the changing needs and conditions of the nation. Along with that, all educational institutions shall aim to inculcate love of country, teach the duties of citizenship, and develop moral character, personal discipline, and scientific, technological, and vocational efficiency to every individual. And now, I know you have this question inside your mind saying, how about those educationally deprived communities? To answer that question, it is clearly stated that the educational system shall reach out to educationally deprived communities, particularly in far-flung areas, in order to give meaningful reality to their membership in the national society, to enrich their civic participation in the community and national life, and to unify all Filipinos into a free and just nation. Just so you know, there is so-called the Indigenous People Education, or the IP-Ed program. It is the DepEd's response to the right of indigenous people, or the IP, to basic education that is responsive to their context, respect their identities, and promote the value of their indigenous knowledge, skills, and other aspects of their cultural heritage. The example of indigenous curriculum implemented in the Philippines are the curriculum of the basic literacy, elementary and secondary levels. The curriculum content, however, was based on Indigenous People Act or Republic Act 8371. The indigenous people's curriculum is focused on their daily lives. For example, family life, health, nutrition, sanitation, hygiene, health, and food. Now, let's go to the Educational Community, Chapter 1, Preliminary Provisions. Under Section 5, Declaration of Policy and Objectives. It is likewise declared that the government policy to foster at all times a spirit of shared purposes and cooperation among the members and elements of the educational community, and between the community and other sectors of society, in the realization that only in such an atmosphere can be true goals and objectives of education be fulfilled. Moreover, the state shall, number 1, aid and support the natural right and duty of parents in rearing the youth through the educational system. Our parents are the first people who taught us moral and ethical values. But aside from our parents, our teachers also did the same thing. Therefore, it is the duty of the state to mold every student or youth together with the parents and the people in the educational community. Number 2, promote and safeguard the welfare and interest of the students by defining their rights and obligations, according them privileges, and encouraging the establishment of sound relationships between them and the other members of the school community. Yes, indeed, it is the duty of the state to promote and safeguard the welfare and interest of the students through defining their rights and obligations and build strong relationship with their peers inside the school community. Number 3, promote the social economic status of all personnel, uphold their rights, define their obligations, and improve their living and working conditions and career prospects. Not just all the time that the state should focus on giving rights to the students and parents. The school personnel's rights must also given priorities. They also have to provide a harmonious and peaceful working conditions to the school personnel and so on. Number 4, extend support to promote the viability of those institutions through which parents and school personnel seek to attain their educational goals. Another obligation of the state is to support the institution which aims to achieve the educational goals of every system of education, not just financially, but in a way in which can help them attain their desirable educational goals. In conclusion, the state has the responsibility to ensure the right to a free and high-quality education for all, and main purpose of the education is to educate individuals within the society to prepare and qualify them for work and economy, and as well as to integrate people into society and teach them values and morals of society. Thank you guys so much for watching, and that is the end of my discussion for today. Stay tuned for the next reporter and our quiz will be following.